Okay. So anyway, I teach at this gym and I usually do like these really intense fitness classes there. And um, yesterday we were doing this one exercise and I was like, oh, I know I hate these two. And somebody was like, well, then why the heck are we doing them? Why would you put this in the rotation? And I said, well, one of the reasons that I feel like I really don't like them is because I'm not that good at them because I don't do them that often. So my muscles aren't as good at doing this particular exercise. So that's why you do it. Like you have to be well rounded. I don't have to dive deep into stuff that I really dislike all the time, but there is a necessity to being balanced and to doing things that make us uncomfortable. Yeah. I was like, this is what happens when the yoga teacher teaches the fitness class. If you thought big into balance. I And then I was thinking about like structuring class this week, and I was like, oh, I think I'll just do hips again because I feel like I just want to do hip classes, and I've been really resistant to heart opening practices. And then I realized I should take my own advice, and that when we're feeling resistant to something and when we're not doing it as much and when it's becoming kind of uncomfortable, it's probably something that would be useful to get into. My nose thing keeps, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. We're gonna get into the heart opening stuff because I've been like, oh, we should just be in the hips and get grounded. It's fall. That's the time for it. But I've noticed having that tightness, so I need to break it up. So we're gonna start breaking it up with a little bit of heart tending before we move on to other things. So if it's comfortable based on your clothing to put skin on skin, you can do that. If it's weird with the neck of your shirt, you can just put your palm right onto your chest. So you'll take one of your hands and either onto the skin or right under your chest. You just kind of line up the index finger right underneath your collarbone. And then that's like a good way to position it and to get that good spacing. And then your other hand is going to be the one that's doing the work. You're going to press in. So it's a light compression into your rib cage. And then you just sort of drag the skin downwards. And then there's often this like resistance to it this way. So then just actively reminding yourself to relax the shoulders. And if it's comfortable, you can close your eyes. I'm just going to take a few breaths, pressing in and gently dragging down right on the front of the heart there. A lot of the resistance and tightness that builds up around our heart is connective tissue building up and tightening. And connective tissue is protective. It helps keep us put together. But it also becomes very limiting. It binds us up. So it becomes this constant process of breaking it down again, of finding some room to expand and be a little bit more soft and vulnerable. Go ahead and take one more nice full breath. And you're going to relax your hands and start going over towards the other side. So take the other hand and kind of position it right in there at your collarbone line. And then the top hand is the one that's pressing inwards and then gently downwards. So you get a little bit of movement of the skin. And the shoulders relax. Again, closing your eyes or finding something just soft and easy to look at. Many big heart opening actions, whether it's a yoga pose or something that we do out in the world that really opens our heart, it can feel really vulnerable and really scary because we are physically vulnerable in an open-hearted place. And so turning inwards and protecting ourselves with hunched shoulders or strong emotional boundaries, whatever it is, that stuff is protective. It has a place. So when we get stuck there, When we get bound up, when we let all of that connective tissue and the habit of those barriers get too strong, then we're in trouble. One more breath like this. And then let your hands rest down in your lap for a moment, just noticing if anything feels different around your heart space. And we'll continue with some of our face brushing, taking your index finger and thumb together, brushing that bottom spot of your thumb from the center of your forehead outwards towards your temples. And then going from the sides of your nose out to your temples, along your cheekbones. Brushing along the bottom edge of your chin, in and out, just to soften underneath the jawline. And then in between your nose and the corners of your mouth, just pressing inwards. Let out a nice big exhale. And then taking your fingertips and massaging underneath and behind your ears so that you get more of that lift. And then keeping that lift as you rest your hands down into your lap. And we'll begin our practice by releasing the sound of Om 3 times together. First, taking a big breath in through your nose. Big exhale through your mouth. Again, like that. For 3 Oms. And then as you open your eyes and you start to settle yourself down on the ground, I am going to turn the lights off in the center here for a bit. It'll be a little bit darker on camera, but we're just going to do a couple things and then pop right back up. So go ahead and lay yourself down. You're going to place your hands behind your head. Leave your knees bent, your feet on the floor, and just with the arms behind your head, you're going to press your elbows down and back behind you. And depending on how your shoulders are feeling, this may feel really nice or it may feel really tender. So they don't go all the way down to the ground. That's okay. You can even take the elbows and bring them a little bit closer. Yeah. And then you're going to take the hands from out from behind your head and you're going to make a cactus shape. So you're going to have your elbows out from your shoulders and your palms up. And then go ahead and roll your knees over towards the right side. You can snuggle them up closer if you like. We're going to push down in the right arm to try to relax the left shoulder. Might become a little bit softer, a little bit closer towards the floor. One more exhale. And then take your knees over towards the left. And when you get them over towards the left, you might notice that the right shoulder lifts up or gets tight. We're going to press down into the back of the left arm to relax the right shoulder a bit more. letting the belly soften as you breathe out. One more exhale. And then come back to the center. And you're going to take your right leg up in the air, reach your hands around your right hamstring and make the leg really, really straight. You're drawing the toes back towards your face. If you wanted to let the left leg go longer, you could, but don't worry about the left leg. We just want to get the right leg really, really straight. You're pressing outwards through your right heel. Take 2 more deep breaths. And then relax that right leg. Go ahead and put your foot down. Extend your left leg up in the air and hold on to your hamstring. So not trying to get the leg in really close, instead trying to get that leg as straight as you can. And one more breath in. Deep breath out. And then relax your left leg. You're going to roll yourself over onto your belly. And when you get onto your belly, just make a pillow for your head with your hands. Rest your forehead down. When you come down, take your left hand and extend it palm facing down out from your shoulder. Take your right hand in by your right shoulder and then look over towards your right, set your head down and roll back so that you get that little twist that stretches out the front of your chest. And it's whatever you want to do with your right leg is fine. And one more breath out. And then slide onto your belly and switch sides. So your left hand comes in, your right hand goes out, looking over to the left and then rolling that left leg back. One more exhale. And then rolling back onto your belly, you're going to bring your hands in and then start to press yourself up. We're going to go onto hands and knees, but you're going to walk the hands out until you can come down onto your elbows. And if you can scoot your elbows a little bit further forward, you'll go for that. You can stay here, maybe rest your head down and let your heart fall down, or try to bring your hands together up above your head. And you always have that option to say, wow, that sounds like a crazy idea that I don't want to do today. And that's always okay. But this will give just a little extra oomph if you'd like it. One more breath out. And then if you had the hands up, release them. You're just going to look forward and crawl yourself out into Sphinx Pose. So we'll have the elbows underneath the shoulders so that you're stacked up. Hands facing forward, fingertips spread out. Try to roll your collarbones a little bit more open. Keeping that lift in your chest as you look over your right shoulder. Try to keep the left shoulder pulled back. You might feel a nice little stretch on that side of the neck. And then gently moving your head over the left shoulder, pulling the right shoulder back a little bit more. And then turning yourself to face forward, you're going to take your right hand and make a fist. Move that fist towards your left elbow. And then bend into your left elbow, or your left knee, sorry, that's a knee. The leg elbow. You bend into the leg elbow. And then if you wanted to reach back and try to grab it, you could. If you just want to keep it tucked up, then you're going to activate your underbutt. So you get either a stretch or you get activation of your hamstring muscle. So you could have it tucked up. And then I'll take the gaze forward. But tucking it in and working your underbutt is also very useful. So it doesn't matter whether or not you can grab it. One more exhale. And then gently release that left leg. You're gonna take both hands forward and then make a fist with your left hand, bring it to your elbow, and then you're gonna tuck the other leg up. And you can either reach back and grab it, or we'll keep it curled up on its own. Yeah. Try to lift your chest. If you can think of pressing your hips, the front of your pelvis downwards towards the floor, you'll get a little bit more stretch on that quadricep. One more exhale. And then gently let the leg down. We're gonna go ahead and lay down again, widen your elbows, give a little rock of your pelvis side to side to soften into your lower back. And then starting to bring your hands up. This time, maybe you lift your belly and your hips first as you press yourself up onto your hands and knees. And if you have a block and you want to bring the block in to have it underneath your left hand, it'll make your arm a little bit longer. We're going to take the right foot up outside of the right hand. And then I'll face you guys. So you're going to have your leg up, and then you're going to turn your knee and your toe out. So the front leg, yeah, you'll just turn it outwards to the side. Yeah, you can turn it towards me, Kathy, yeah. And then you're gonna leave the opposite hand down and then look up over that front thigh. Yeah. And having the leg turned out a little bit can give you a little bit more space to rest your hips a little bit further forward. So we're getting more of this opening up, and then a little lifting of the chest. If you were to be, you know, sculpted into a yoga sculpture, this would be a good one. One more exhale. And then start to draw yourself back. You're going to take that leg back and just switch to the other side. And taking your time, bringing it up. Once you have it up, turning the leg out, and then bringing your hand up to your thigh, letting your hips come forward. Yeah. And then looking up and over into that twist. Finding your breath again. One more full round of breath. And then you're going to go ahead and turn that leg forward. And since you've already got one foot up, you can bring the other foot up too. We're just going to come up into a fold, and you've got a block around, or you could bring your hands down to it if you felt like that was a more comfortable place to fold. And then gently start to bring yourself up to standing. And then when you get up to standing, you're going to take your arms behind you, interlace your fingers behind your back, and leave your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Keeping your elbows bent, lift your chest up. See if you can move the weight forward towards your toes. So you've got just a little bit more of that open front body energy. And then lift your chest. Maybe even lift your gaze upwards on the ceiling a bit more. One more inhale. And exhale. Go ahead and settle yourself back to center. You're going to take your right foot forward and your left foot back. And if it starts to get to the point where you have a hard time being up on your toes, you can put your heel down. It'll be harder to balance, but we get a little bit more of the squareness if you're up on your toes. So it's up to you, whichever, and you can go back and forth between them. You're going to take your hands into the back pockets of your high-waisted jeans. And then you're going to try to lift your rib cage up and away from those back pockets. And hopefully the elbows and shoulders start to go back, making room for the heart to go forward. Good. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then you can relax that a little bit. Go ahead and take the back foot and turn that heel down. And then you're going to put your hand in the front pocket and see if you can feel that front pocket move forward a little bit more. Because a lot of times when we are just human in general, or when we sit, we kind of close off that front pocket region. I'm going to try to open it up in these heart lifting shapes. And then you're going to take your arms up, We're gonna try to keep lifting the heart up and away from those back pockets and keep the front pocket open. And just do a little bit of a flow on your exhale, pull your elbows out wide. And your inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, elbows out wide. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, pull it out. Inhale, lift it up. One more time, exhale. And then release your arms. You're gonna straighten the front legs. Swing your hands back behind you. If your palms face towards each other, you might be able to get a little bit more lift in your chest. And then you're gonna take that open chest forward over your leg. If you wanna reach out like lasers are going off out of your pinky fingers, that might tone the backs of your arms a little bit more, give you a little bit more boost. One more exhale. And then relax your arms. Go ahead and stand yourself up. And then we'll switch sides. So you've got that lunge on the other leg. And if you wanted to switch so that you are up on your toes, if you can do that on this side for that first little bit, you're welcome to, or back heel down is okay. We're gonna start hands in the back pockets. And you can feel if your hands are up in the back pockets, your rib cage is really right there to touch the heels of your hands. And you may not get it very far, but lifting up out of those back pockets gives a whole new energy to your heart opening. And then maybe it creates a little bit more spiciness and difficulty in the breath. So then we just got to work with that element. One more breath in, deep breath out. And then you can relax that a bit. Go ahead and put that back heel down if it wasn't already. So you've got a little bit more stability. So you can take your opposite hand and put it into the front pocket. So it's right here in the front pocket of that hip. And then you gently move that front pocket forward and more open. And then we'll take the arms up, feeling that lift of the ribs away from the back pockets. The front pocket is open. Exhale, elbows pull out to the side. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, elbows are open. Inhale. Exhale. Two more. And then straighten the front leg. You're gonna take those arms back behind you. Pinky fingers reach back with as much energy as you're inclined to. And then your heart comes forward with as much space as your hamstrings have room for. One more exhale. And start to relax your arms. Go ahead and stand yourself up. We're gonna come up to standing. We're gonna do a quick little standing balance. You actually do not need to have anything around to hold on to because you've got a block in front of you unless you're at home or you wanna come to a chair or a couch. And you can bend your knees as much as you need. We're gonna take standing splits, and it's not about trying to get the leg up really high. If you think about your torso getting really close to your leg, that will be what'll start to get the leg up high. And you don't have to take long holds of this. So pick a leg that you're gonna stand on, and then the other toes are gonna be back behind you. And then you're gonna try to bring your body down so that leg can go up, even if it's just like little bird, you know, the garden bird where the water goes in and it kind of teeter-totters, that's okay. Good. You want to take the heart down even though it's scary. And then when you feel like you've had a lot of that, go ahead and put your foot down. Yeah, really, like, because there's I was like thinking about trying to get down as much as you can or trying to go down with that heart first, which can get really tight in the back. So it's just wherever you're able to go. So switch to the other leg, and it's try to get, even if the leg doesn't go up high, it doesn't have to go up high. Standing splits doesn't really work the lifting leg, it works the standing leg. It's a very strangely named thing, yeah. And you can dip the bird or not dip the bird or just decide that's long enough to hold it and then go ahead and put your feet back down. And then start to lift yourself up. Okay. You're gonna bring the feet about hip width distance apart. Take your hands back behind your head. You're gonna lift that rib cage up, press those front pockets forward, and then let your head rest back in your hands. If you're able to think of your inner armpits softening, you can relax those. We're still lifting that heart up. The weight is more in the toes than it is in the heels. And softening for your last exhale. And then wrap your belly into your spine to bring you back up to neutral. And then we'll rest arms. We're going to take a small field trip over towards the wall. And I'm just going to turn this a little bit so that I can use a pillar. So it doesn't have to be, we have got like the cabinets around. You're going to want to be able to just bring your hand to the cabinet because we're going to use it for a little shoulder work. So let me see, where am I here? Okay, so I've got this back behind me. I'm going to have my hand behind me. And I'm going to turn so that I'm on the pinky finger edge of my hand, like I'm offering something to somebody behind me. And then I'm going to start to turn my chest forward again, putting the weight into both of my feet. And just a little bit of energy goes into pressing my hand into the wall or the cabinet or whatever sort of large, sturdy device I've moved myself into. And then check out that those front pockets aren't starting to drift back. I want to try to bring those front pockets forward. One more exhale. And then relax that arm. You're probably gonna have to back it up a little bit. We want to put the whole upper arm bone or the lower arm bone. Sorry, yeah, that's the from the elbow to the hand. You want to bring that into contact with the thing you've got, and then you're just gonna press that whole forearm in, and again, press your chest and your hips gently forward. I think I'm slightly out of frame, but I think we've done this before for folks who are online. One more exhale. And then relax it. Go ahead and unwind yourself and then come to face the other side. I am going to scooch this a little bit just to see that I'm okay. So you've got the hand behind you and you're on the pinky finger edge of your hand and it's pressing into, yeah, it's right about in line. So you're going to have to start with the arms straight back behind you. Yeah. Instead of pressing this way, take your hand onto the other edge of the cabinet. This one, this hand onto the cabinet. Yep, like this. Yeah, yeah, you can come a lot closer. It's a bizarre thing to do, but it gets right in there, right? Like there's, oh. Letting those front pockets open up. One more exhale. And then relax yourself out of it. You're probably gonna have to back up a little bit or find a different space. And then it's your elbow about in line with your shoulder and your palm up. And then if you can scooch forward a little bit or you want to, then you can, but we're gonna press that forearm down and then lean the hips and the heart right out in front. There we go. Excellent. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then go ahead and relax that. You can go ahead and set your arm down. We'll stay here for just a moment because we're going to do another thing in a little bit. Take your hands back behind your head again. And then see about softening your head back and just notice if it feels different. You still got to lift the heart up, but it's like I got whole new arms. Big exhale. Then draw your belly in to stand yourself up. I'm going to do 2 more things by the wall. You're going to start off with a down dog at the wall. So plant your hands, hips are above your feet. We're pressing from the heart out into the hands, rolling those inner thighs back so you get a lot of good hamstring stretch. One more exhale, reach those hips back into the center of the room. And then start to look forward and walk yourself up. And then you have something nearby that you can hold on to if you want to. We're going to take dancer's pose. So it's either gonna be a reaching of the hand and the foot back, or if you gotta come in to try to grab onto the foot and hold, we can go that way. So once you've got it, you're gonna press your hips and your heart forward. If you've got room to push your foot back into your hand to try to lift your chest up, we'll do that. Yes. Yes, yes, lifting up. Good. Maybe one more breath in. And then gently relax your heart first and then set that foot down so that we're not letting the knee snap. And then we'll move to the other side. So whatever you got to do in order to grab onto the foot, if it's going to be able to be grabbed onto, and you can just reach the legs back. You don't have to make contact, but if you do make contact, then pressing the hips forward. And then once the hips come forward, we're opening those front pockets. We're going to lift the rib cage up and away from the back pockets. Awesome. Woo, as I fall over. Good. Finding the breath again. Beautiful. One more inhale. And then gently relaxing the leg and bouncing things around a little bit. Gonna come back to our mat spaces. But just two more things to do standing, and then we can go down on the floor. But first, taking your legs out wide, setting yourself up for warrior two. Just pick a side. It doesn't really matter which one you're going for. Once you find warrior two, we're going to come into side angle. So you'll take the elbow down to the bent knee, reach the top arm up and over. Now we've done a lot of opening all the way around the heart. We want to soften the back of the heart here. So let your shoulder blade come off the spine. Draw your belly back to your spine. Push the back foot down into the floor. Big exhale. And then start to take yourself up back to warrior two. You're going to shift from warrior two into warrior one. So you're going to have to make your stance a little bit wider. You'll turn in the one direction. And then take your hands back. You can interlace your fingers or hold on to your hips. You're going to start to take your heart forward as far as you can without your shoulders going forward, which is always the hard part. And one more exhale. And then gently lift yourself up. And then you can release your arms. And we're going to switch to the other side into warrior two. So if you want to turn around or readjust your space and your footing, we'll come out to having those front toes, front knee facing out, and then come down onto your elbow. Reach that other arm up and over, and you can let that shoulder blade come forward. So you're finding that balance, right? Making sure that we're not creating too much compression in one area. Big breath in, big breath out. And then coming back up, going from warrior two to warrior one. So you have to adjust your feet a little bit to face everything forward. And then take your hands back to your hips or your hands back behind you and take your heart forward on the inside of your front knee. Letting the heart lead you. One more exhale. And then release your arms. Go ahead and stand yourself up. You can bring your feet back in. And then we're going to come down to take a seat. And just take your legs and slide them out in front of you. There's a lot of standing and a lot of arms. So coming into your seat, just take one leg and go ahead and fold it up and over. I'm going to lift the toes on my extended foot and then hug onto this leg. Use the other arm to support me and just come into a nice twist. We're just stretching the outer hips here. A little relaxing to the back before we do a few more big heart poses. One more breath out. And relax your twist. I'll just switch the legs, taking the one out, the other one in. Hug your thigh, support your spine with that back hand and lift up, softening your belly as you twist. Notice if the collarbones are trying to shrink inwards or if you can expand them. One more exhale. And then relax your twist. I'm gonna go ahead and unwind the legs. So we're gonna do camel pose. If you're not coming onto your knees, then you can work in altar pose with your bum on the ground, or decide to go maybe up with your hips. But if you wanna go into camel pose on the knees, this will be the wild, crazy thing that we'll offer. So we're gonna come up to standing. If you wanna take a block in between your thighs, it can be a helpful way to engage and keep the hips pressing up and forward. So just be up for a little bit here. We're gonna take a half camel in one direction. So put your right hand in the back pocket of your high-waisted jeans, squeeze your hips up and forward, and then reach the left arm. And you're gonna reach your heart up to your left arm and press your hips forward and breathe in. And exhale, soften back to the center. So letting yourself come back to neutral. And then your left hand goes into the back pocket, the front pockets come forward, the heart lifts up, the right arm lifts up. Big breath in. And then exhale, relax it back to neutral. And then when we go into this full shape, finding that circular energy, kind of like we have with the lunges where the hips go forward. So taking your hands into your back pockets, you're gonna keep your under butt lifted up and forward, and then start picking your heart up away from your ribs. Lift the gaze if it feels okay to you, if it still allows you to breathe. Relax your jaw. Maybe your heart can open up a little bit more on your last inhale. And then go ahead and bring it back to the middle. Go ahead, if you got the block, you can take it out. We're gonna go ahead and come to a seat. And then swing your legs out in front of you. So if you're gonna have your fingertips touching lightly and be able to stand up, great. If you need to take your fingertips back behind you to keep yourself up, you can do that too. This one gets a little bit more chest opening, and I'm thinking more like a balancing space here. So wherever you need to be supported or not supported, then find somewhere to close your eyes and soften. Can I be lifted? Can I be expansive, but also be balanced and having a strong back? There's that Brene Brown quote that I love, that we should have a strong back, a soft front, and a wild heart. Go ahead and start to open your eyes if they've been closed. We're going to start to transition down onto our backs, and resist the urge to bring your knees into your chest if you can. So we want to just come down, knees bent, feet on the floor. Just hold back down on the ground, and give yourself a moment to settle here, because sometimes some of the energy, the tissue, the connective tissue, the muscles, they're feeling a little frantic from being up. And so we're just going to give it a moment to rest as we come down. And after we do just the one bridge, I'll go ahead and turn the lights off. But we are going to go up into a few bridges. Wiggle your shoulders underneath. Make sure that your toes are facing forward, your feet are firmly planted. And then as you lift your hips up, you might be able to wiggle your shoulders in more. Maybe you hold your hips, or you hold hands underneath your back, and then lift those inner thighs up so your heart can keep pulling up to your nose. One more big breath in. And then relax your shoulders. Go ahead and soften yourself down. And then we're going to go up one more time. So go ahead and push again into your feet, letting those hips drive upwards, pressing strong into all four corners. So especially those inside edges of your feet that are kind of hard to make contact with. If there's any more room to lift your hips up higher, there's the last breath to do it. And then letting your hips gently come back down onto the floor. And then start to bring your knees into your chest, giving yourself a little rock around. Maybe rocking in the other direction as well. And then set your left foot down and put your right ankle on it. You can stay here, rotating the right leg out, or take the right arm in between the legs and hold on. Giving yourself 2 more deep breaths. And then you're gonna release your legs. You're gonna take the right thigh and cross it all the way over onto the left side. So there's no longer any space between the legs. And then reach outside of the legs to hold onto your knees or your shins or any further down the legs that you are reasonably comfortably able to. One more breath out. And then unwind your legs completely. Go ahead and put the feet back down on the floor. And then your left ankle will come up onto your right knee and you can stay there, or you can wrap up and hold onto the bottom leg. Just 2 more breaths. And then releasing the bottom leg so you can take both legs and wrap them closer. And then you might hold your knees or your shins or a little further down the legs. Keep letting your hips relax. One more breath out. And then unwind your legs. We'll set the soles of the feet down. If it feels comfortable to open both of your knees out, you can open both of your knees, or just take a moment to open the one leg and have the other knee facing up. Just kind of dropping one knee out to the side. If you've had only one leg open, you can switch to the other side. If both open feels good, then continuing to relax into gravity. One more exhale. And coming back to the center, we're gonna roll the knees over towards the right. Maybe you tuck them in nice and close to you, and then open your arms out, maybe wiggling the rib cage over towards the left a little bit more. One more breath out. And then taking your knees over towards the other side, finding the opposite twist, maybe wiggling the rib cage so you're a little bit more open on the right side. Staying here to exhale. And then coming back to the center, go ahead and set your feet down. Let your knees knock against each other. Bring your arms in a little bit closer by your back, by your torso. If you want to wiggle your shoulders inside a little bit more so your heart is more open. And then if you'd like to stay here with bent legs, you can, or you can start to slide them out into Shavasana. If there are any other adjustments that you need in order to feel prepared for a nice, steady, easy rest. We'll spend a few minutes here before wrapping up. Start to come back to your body. Wiggling your fingers and toes if that helps to wake you up. Maybe just taking some deeper breaths. When you feel ready, rolling yourself over to one side and taking this moment to offer yourself gratitude for coming onto your mat and for having the opportunity to share practice together. And when you're ready, coming up to find your own version of a comfortable seat. Hands gathered at your heart. We'll seal practice by releasing an Om together. Big breath in. Om. Bowing down to the love and light that resides within each of our hearts. Namaste. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for joining us online.
Thank you.
Thanks, Melinda.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good week. Hi, Ruth.